The story begins with a girl named Izumo, who is reading the manga. After finishing the manga, she wishes to become like the girl in it and experience the youth of a woman. Despite looking young, she plans to take her own life. She mentions that reading this specific manga was her final wish before dying. Before she can jump off a bridge, a half-naked man named Andy interrupts her. He advises her not to do something so drastic. Izumo tells Andy that there's no turning back for her because she can't enjoy passionate romance like the girl in the manga due to what she calls her cursed body. She believes that death is the only way to escape her perceived curse. She threatens Andy with a knife to stay away, warning him that touching her will give him an incurable disease that will lead to his death. Rather than being scared, Andy becomes more determined. He demonstrates his craziness by stabbing himself in the heart with the knife she was holding. With the knife stuck in his heart, he gets closer to Izumo and begins choking her, stating that he doesn't believe her excuses. His wounds heal rapidly. He makes jokes about what incurable disease might affect him now that he has touched her. In response, Izumo explains that it's actually her unlucky supernatural effect that will affect him. As Izumo says the word, the ground beneath Andy collapses, and he falls in front of an oncoming bullet train, getting completely crushed. Izumo closes her eyes, feeling guilty for causing an innocent person's death. She apologizes and cries, blaming herself for Andy's demise. Suddenly, Andy's severed head returns to the bridge, revealing that he's somehow not dead. He tells Izumo that he's figured out what her undead effect is. First, he regenerates his entire body in front of her, calling it his lucky day because he encountered someone like Izumo. She can't believe what's happening before her eyes. Izumo punches Andy hard in his private area and immediately runs away, calling him a zombie. However, Andy quickly catches up and introduces himself as undead. He grabs Izumo with both hands to prevent her from escaping and insists that she answer some questions before going anywhere else. As they talk, they notice police officers approaching them. To evade them, Andy leaps from building to building while carrying Izumo. After reaching the rooftop, Andy explains how his leaping trick works. He tells Izumo that he regenerates his torn-off legs very quickly and uses that speed to jump high and far. But Izumo isn't interested in Andy's supernatural power. She starts crawling away, terrified. Andy doesn't allow Izumo to leave so easily. He grabs her by the leg and insists that she answer his questions first. Izumo warns Andy that he might trigger her bad luck by touching her leg and pleads with him to let go if he wants to stay alive. Andy knows he'll be fine as long as he doesn't touch Izumo's bare skin. Since she's fully clothed, he doesn't believe he'll trigger her bad luck anytime soon. However, Izumo continues to beg him to release her. To test her intentions, Andy asks if she truly wants him to let go. He reveals that he's standing at the edge of the rooftop, making Izumo even more scared. Andy asks Izumo to explain her unlucky effect, promising to help her. However, instead of explaining, Izumo insists that he let her go, as her original plan was to end her life anyway. She claims that his threats don't scare her, but her expressions show otherwise. To make her admit the truth, Andy starts swinging her around. Eventually, she confesses that she is indeed scared of falling to her death. Despite this, he continues spinning her and makes her promise to explain everything about her unlucky effect. Finally, he safely lets her go and asks her to share her story. Izumo closes her eyes and begins her backstory. She reveals that her unlucky effect started when she was just 8 years old. Her parents were about to travel overseas for business, and when they hugged her before leaving for the plane, her unlucky effect triggered. About 30 minutes later, the plane exploded, killing all 270 people on board, including her parents, due to unexpected engine trouble. She realized that touching people with her bare skin caused them to get hurt or even die. To prevent this, she covered her entire body with heavy clothing. Izumo explains that the severity of her unlucky effect depends on how she touches someone. Hearing this, Andy quickly grabs her plot, assuming it will trigger the worst stroke of bad luck. As he does this, a cargo full of bananas falls from a flying airplane and lands on top of Andy. Izumo takes advantage of this situation to run away, but Andy regenerates his body and assures her that falling bananas won't be enough to kill him. Izumo slips and falls off the building because she didn't see a banana peel on the ground. As she starts to fall, she regrets her decision to die this way and realizes she wants to live longer. She screams and wishes she had the chance to do more girly things in her life. She understands that her earlier decision to end her life was immature. Luckily, Andy, the undead man, is there to rescue her from falling to her death. He tells her that he won't let her die until she helps him obtain the power that will allow him to experience a real death. Andy wants to know what Izumo is keeping secret about her supernatural power, which prevents him from dying. He hopes that by triggering a massive stroke of bad luck, he can finally meet his end. However, Izumo remains silent, so he forcefully brings her to his hideout. He plans to study her there to understand her unusual effect better. While traveling to his hideout by jumping between buildings, he keeps her with him. A man named Billy, along with his secretive group in black suits, is spying on Andy. Billy informs his boss that he has spotted Andy heading towards his hideout with a new companion, Izumo. He also mentions that there isn't much information available about Izumo, so he plans to confirm her special ability before taking any action. Meanwhile, Andy takes Izumo to an abandoned building, which he calls his hideout. He gets right to the point and asks if the duration of his contact with her affects the magnitude of her bad luck. To test this theory, Andy tells Izumo to undress, but she refuses. She attempts to escape, but Andy continues to chase her. But her cloth gets stuck, causing her hat to fall off, revealing her incredibly long hair. Cutting her hair is a big deal because anyone who cuts it ends up dying. She's upset about this, but Andy, who used to be a hairdresser, offers to cut it for her. After a 15-minute haircut, he hands her a piece of broken mirror, and she loves her new look. However, Andy is excited because he held her for so long and wonders what kind of bad luck he will experience. Suddenly, his head is swiftly removed by a guard hunter, Billy. He thanks Izumo for letting her guard down. Hunter instructs his team to put Andy's head in a special capsule to stop his regeneration. He explains to Izumo that their job is to deal with people like her, who have unique abilities that can cause chaos in the world. He finds her ability fascinating. She negates luck for anyone who touches her, leading to their death. Hunter thinks it's a perfect ability for an assassin. Izumo asks what they plan to do with her power. The hunter is convinced that Andy captured Izumo because of her unique power, so that he can use her and cause problems. However, Izumo disagrees with this idea. Even though it's their first meeting, she can tell that Andy only used her bad luck ability on himself. The hunter gets annoyed and threatens to harm her instead. Izumo starts to feel emotional, thinking about how kind Andy has been despite his deadly ability. She apologizes for her earlier comments, and believes that this situation is just a result of bad luck from him cutting her hair. Suddenly, lightning strikes the man holding Undead, causing him to fall into a hole in the building. The others are a bit spooked, thinking it might be Izumo's power, but the hunter explains that her power hasn't been activated yet, so it's likely just the man's bad luck. Undead rises from the hole, ready to fight. The Scar Hunter pulls his captive closer, and orders his gang to attack with blades since firearms don't work on Undead. According to their information, he's resistant to bullets. Undead admits that he's currently not in his best combat form, but in the past, he was a master. To access his full potential, he removes a cork from his brain. He effortlessly defeats the enemies. Andy explains that getting his head removed earlier wasn't because of Izumo's power. The lightning bolt was meant for him, and the guy holding him was just caught in the crossfire. Andy is eager to test more abilities triggered by different lifetimes. Reluctantly, the Scar Hunter uses Izumo as a human shield and threatens to harm her unless Undead hands over his head without regenerating it. Undead complies without hesitation and even suggests they should party if they meet again. He tosses his head at the hunter, and as it's flying through the air, Izumo reveals that she knows how to trigger the biggest stroke of bad luck. She frees herself from the hunter and rushes toward Undead's head, giving him a kiss on the cheek while his head is still in the air. The hunter catches the head, confused by Izumo's unexpected action. Izumo tells the hunter that her action was just a friendly gesture. Andy, sensing that something significant is about to occur, regenerates and pins the hunter down. The hunter tries to stab him, but they are already at an advantage. Suddenly, a meteor crashes into the abandoned building. Izumo, thinking that Andy is gone, feels sad. However, to her shock, Andy walks out of the rubble, noting that he's never taken a meteorite to the face before. The sword is still stuck in his chest. He corrects her by saying that he is undead, not zombie. He praises her for her assistance and is impressed by the level of bad luck she caused. Izumo introduces herself, but Undead can't remember his name. So, she gives him the nickname and he doesn't mind. Andy can't believe that a simple peck on the cheek caused a meteorite to fall. He mentions what happens if they do the main thing. She takes this opportunity to escape and Andy chases her so that he get the taste of both ultimate bad luck and her. This brings an end to our episode. Thank you for watching.